to Bake with Brady and Mommy. Today we're making chocolate chip scones.
This is a really versatile recipe. So we're doing chocolate chips because the boys love chocolate chips. My personal favorite is with dried cherries and cranberries. You could do lemon and blueberries. We're going to be using vanilla in this today. But if you're doing it with cherries, you can add almond extract. If you're doing it with blueberries, you can add lemon extract. So I encourage you to get creative with your flavors.
Let's get started.
Today we need 1 3/4 cups of flour. Mwah. Bradley, do you remember how we do flour? Say it with me.
Say it with me.
Fluff.
Fluff.
Scoop.
Skip.
Level.
Level. And dump.
Oh boy. Tap, tap, tap. Let's see if we can rescue that. We need 3 tablespoons of sugar. Okay, you want to scoop?
Scoopy.
Okay, scoop it nice and full. Let's do 1 tablespoon of baking powder.
I want to scoop the baking powder.
Absolutely, Brad. And dump.
I want to pour salt.
I'm going to pour it and you can dump it. We only need a 1/2 teaspoon of salt.
What color is it?
What color do you think it is?
White.
White. Gentle stir. Mix it all around. The reason that we're stirring it now is because we don't want to over stir it later once we put our wet ingredients in. If we over mix these, they become tough. Let's set this aside. Next, we need
The egg.
the egg. Let's put that in first so that if we crack a shell, we can take it back out. Give it a tap, tap, tap. Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's a good thing that we have a nice clean countertop. We're rescuing a lot of stuff today. Swoop.
Oh.
Swoop.
Ew.
Swoop. 1 egg.
It never happened.
We
I'm gonna put a heavy cream
you
in.
can hold this.
Hmm.
So this recipe calls for 4 to 6 tablespoons of heavy cream. I always start with 4 and then I mix my dough together, and if we need extra, I'll add it in later. Next, we're gonna have a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. This scone recipe I actually got from Nick's grandma, Gigi. This is my favorite scone recipe, so say shout out to Gigi.
Shout out to Gigi.
Let's add in our chocolate chips. Do you want a lot of chocolate chips, Brad?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm gonna taste them.
You want to taste them?
Yeah.
I don't really have an amount. I guess we're going to go with a cup today. We should have done this before we added the chocolate chips. We can call this blunders on Bake with Mom. I'll try and scoop them out as best as I can. Before we started, Bradley chopped up all this butter, right, Brad?
Yeah.
All by yourself?
Yeah.
This butter we put in the freezer because you want it nice and cold. This is what's going to help them rise and be airy and fluffy. If it's warm, it's just going to mix in. They're going to be dense. It could leak out in the oven, so you just want a nice, firm, cold butter. I highly recommend using a pastry cutter. If you have one, it goes so much faster. If you don't have a pastry cutter, you can use this little trick with 2 knives. And you want to do this so that when you're done, you have little pea-sized pieces of butter. All right, we're gonna add our chocolate chips back in. We're gonna add in our liquid ingredients now. Once you pour in your liquid ingredients, you're just gonna give this a little stir. We're just mixing this in the bowl. We just want this to kind of start coming together. Sometimes this is just really dry. It seems like it's never gonna come together, and you might wanna add another tablespoon or 2 of your heavy cream. And sometimes it comes together nicely. You might just add 1 more tablespoon. Brad, you wanna hold up the bigger spoon?
Yeah.
This is our 5th tablespoon. We usually do between 4 and 6. You can see we have this crumbly dough. It's not quite together yet, but it's also not dry. I don't just have a bunch of dry flour. So this is at the point where we're gonna take this, we're gonna flip it onto the counter, and we're gonna knead it together. There we go. Dump this out. So I'm gonna gather all this together with my hands. Bring it together. Kind of flip as I go. Bradley, please stop stealing.
Mom, you can eat this.
I can?
Yeah.
Why don't we put it in, okay? Stick it in there. Yeah, good job. But I actually think that this looks really good. You can still see our chunks of butter in there. It's not too wet, it's not too dry. The next step is we're gonna take this and we're just gonna roll it into a disc. I'm just gonna throw a little flour down so that we're not sticking to the counter. You wanna help roll?
Yeah.
Let's do it together. So we're just gonna roll, spin. If it's kind of seeming like it's looking like it wants to crumble on us, we're just gonna smoosh it back together.
Whoa.
Yum.
Yum.
That looks great. We're gonna use a knife to cut this. You could also cut it with whatever those things are called. It's not coming to me, but if anyone knows what I'm talking about, throw it in the comments, because you're not getting the name. What am I talking about, Brad? So I'm gonna cut this into 8 slices, and then we're just gonna leave it right in this pie shape. And the reason that we're leaving it together like this is so that it can rise. The very last step before we put this in the oven is to put some heavy cream and sugar on top. So again, use a pastry brush if you have one, but if you don't, improvise. Let's get it spread all around. And then I like to take a little sugar and I just like to sprinkle that on top to give it a nice, delicious, sugary, crunchy coating on the top. If you've got like a nice coarse sugar, something that you'd use on muffins or pastries, again, preferred. But what we've got is what we've got, and we've done it this way before just with the regular granulated sugar, and it comes out just fine. Stick these in a 400-degree oven for about 14 minutes. These look nice and golden. They don't sink when you touch them. They feel firm on the top. These are perfect. We're gonna take these out. We're gonna let them cool, and once they're cool, you just gently pull them apart.
Thanks for watching Bake with Mom. Bye.